I audited 159 packaging machinery websites. Are you making these mistakes? Mistake number one, company first framing. This one is very obvious to spot. And the fix for this is to have buyer first or visitor first framing. Emphasize you and your, not we and us. So the best way I've heard this put is my friend Phil Buckley commented on LinkedIn and said the smartest line he'd ever heard was from an old boss of his, where he said, "There's one page on our website and it's called About Us. Everything else should be about them." And I told Phil I was going to steal this, and here it is. It absolutely encapsulates this idea. So when someone comes to your website, they don't really care about your company. They don't really care about your machines. They care about solving their problem or building the business case so that they can get buy-in, or that they can comparison shop. They care about getting a promotion. They care about themselves, their problem, their company, their interests. And so you should frame the website in a way that lets them figure out, am I in the right place? Can they help me? Have they helped people like me before? Will I like working with them? Are we in the same universe budget wise? All those sorts of things. But the entire framing of the website shouldn't just be, here's what we do, here's the machines we've got, here's how long we've been in business, here's our executives, here's us. It should be you, customer, prospect, people who are looking for jobs. So anyway, I'm beating a dead horse here, but you get the idea. I'd say that was the number one issue. Mistake number two, these cluttered flyout navigation. I thought these died years ago, but apparently not. The fix for these is to use the available space you have in the viewport and have what's called a mega menu. I don't know who named them these back in the day, but it kind of stuck. There's probably a better name, but I've always stuck with mega menus. But let me show you an example. This is an ancient one from IBM. I didn't want to pick on anybody here in packaging machinery, but you know what I'm talking about here. These rollover menus that all of these menus keep flying out. Sometimes you just go 3-4 layers deep. There's like 20, 30 options. You get overwhelmed. And a lot of these companies, packaging machinery companies, are kind of engineering focused. And so it's just like, let's give them all the details and then they can figure out what they need and they can see, choose whatever. No, this is what IBM looks like today. This is the clean mega menu. You got 6 options here. It's very easy where to click on where the delineation is on which one of these is a distinct item. You're very unlikely to make a mistake. You're very unlikely to get overwhelmed. So ditch those old school Dreamweaver style flyout menus. Mistake number 3, visual chaos. The fix for this is to have some brand discipline and set some brand standards, and have those extend to your website in terms of having a visual system, colors, typography, usage guidelines, brand voice, all of those sorts of things that you marketers know about, but it needs to extend to the website. So I saw a lot of very chaotic, messy design with just stuff that's all over the place, different fonts, different sizes, different colors, unclear what's clickable. Here's a good example of these card elements here for sealed air. Looking down here at food packaging equipment, protective packaging, protective equipment. These card elements, they all have a uniform size thumbnail here. You can tell they're from the same set of photography, or they're all interrelated. They're actual photos from sealed air. We've got this common H2 or H3 kind of heading element. The descriptions are the same length. It's very clear what the call to action is. It's clear what's clickable and what isn't. Once I click on one of these or figure out how to use one of these, I know how to do it everywhere else on the site. I saw tons of these columns, and just notice this when you're browsing other packaging machinery websites. You will see different size columns, different fonts. I'm not sure whether this is clickable or not. Stock photography for one thumbnail, actual photo for the other, some AI generated image for the other one. It looks like some crazy sci-fi cartoon. So anyway, you need to set some brand standards. AI has unlocked some great tooling around this in terms of generating style guides, design tokens, that sort of thing. So anyway, I'm going to show you the rest of the tips here. I've got 9 of them, but I build websites and promote websites for manufacturers. I've been making websites for 20, I don't even know how many years at this point, since 2001, long time. And these days I'm focused specifically on manufacturers, and I worked in the packaging machinery industry, managing sites for one of the big global players there for over 14 years. So if you want to see this kind of full study, my methodology, maybe learn a little bit more about me, go to judlyon.com/PKG, and it'll shoot you right over to this the accompanying article for this. So back to the mistakes. Mistake number 4 is poor contrast. The fix here is to use things like tinted overlays or to play with the opacity in the background, to choose backgrounds that aren't super busy. Make sure that the type sizing and scaling makes sense. A lot of visitors, especially those with purchasing power, are going to probably skew a little bit older. Our eyes aren't as good as they used to be. So here's an example from Color Masters out of Alabama. They've got this background video. It was shot in a way that wasn't super chaotic and crazy. It had smooth editing. And then here on this kind of light box thing, obviously it's white and white text would not work there. So they darkened the video so that you can read this large text that says leader in flexible films and packaging. So these hero videos and hero backgrounds and slideshows are very common. Just make sure you've got enough contrast in the sizing. Mistake number 5, confusing forms. The fix here is to simplify them, in a word. You want things vertically aligned, not lots of columns. Only ask things you absolutely need to know. You can follow up for more fields. This is always a back and forth fight between marketing. Marketing wants the leads to go through. Sales wants them to be a little bit more qualified. But there's lots of techniques and data on how to do this right. I wrote a full article about it called Best Practices for B2B Manufacturing Lead Forms. But pay attention to this. These are where these are the money buttons on these websites, especially if you're running marketing in a manufacturing company and you want to generate good leads for the sales team. This is definitely something you want to pay attention to. Mistake number 6. This one drives me crazy. No human beings on your website. Only machines. These sterile websites, no people. People want to work with other humans. The fix here is to add pictures of people from your company who used to be at your company, the founders, the people who you work with, partners, from trade shows, from, I don't know, company retreats, from recruiting. Don't use stock photos and don't use these AI generated. You're not fooling anyone with these things. Here's a great example, the best example I know. Crutchfield.com sells electronics. They are huge on this and always have been. Someone who actually used to work at Crutchfield after I published a video on this reached out to me and said, yes, this is part of their DNA. I worked there for a long time ago, and this is someone who would be in a position to know. This obviously is part of their DNA, and they have all of their advisors on their website. On every page of the website, you're going to get a corresponding picture with someone who can help you and someone who knows about this stuff. And you're going to get stuff about, their hobbies, what they like, do they have a pet dog, that sort of stuff. And especially when you're selling machines and we're in the age of robotics and AI, have some people on your site, please. Mistake number 7, clichéd phrasing. So the fix here is to be as specific as you can and say things that, this is just, kind of positioning and marketing 101, which is say things that only your company can say. I know sometimes things are commodified and you can't be totally original here. I mean, we're not writing poetry, but try and be as specific as you can about who you're addressing and what kind of problem you're solving. There's so many phrases that are just lazy, that have been emptied of all meaning. So this when you see it. We're a leading provider of X in the XYZ industry. We're a global leader. We provide innovative solutions, top quality solutions. Our team has a combined experience of 796 years. We're the most trusted. We aim to be the most reliable. I mean, these are the classic one is to, if you can remove the headline and just bolt it onto somebody else's site, do you know who's who? And a lot of these were very interchangeable. Granted, I looked at 159 websites over the course of a couple of weeks. So that, by the end of it, I was going crazy because a lot of them were just saying the same thing over and over. And it was to the point where it was like, I couldn't tell one company from the next. Mistake number 8, country flags to switch languages. So this is for those of you that have global companies or are presenting in multiple languages and have localized websites. Use the country and region to designate the language, not flags. I thought this practice died a long time ago. I got called out for this, long time ago. And ever since, it's been a peeve of mine and notice it. But don't use, imagine our friends in Canada right now. They don't want to be clicking on a US flag to switch into English, or people in England speak English, Australians. I mean, you get the idea. People all over the world speak Spanish. There's all sorts of different dialects. There's different cultural connotations to all this. Anyway, you get the idea. The way to do this correctly is, this is an exaggerated example that supports tons of languages, but use text, don't use those flags, and then indicate the country and the language, and you'll have no problems. This is how you do it right here. So mistake number 9, lack of legal compliance. I know this one's no fun, but the fix is to talk to your legal department and take care of this. There are different rules in different countries. In French, you support English and French, and that's a legal requirement. There's accessibility requirements some places. Obviously, cookie and GDPR. The European Union has more stringent privacy laws than the United States does. I've worked with whistleblower laws in like Spain and Italy. California has some regulations that are specific to them. So make sure that you're adhering to this. I saw some of these sites, typically the global websites, teams with legal departments have this buttoned up. A lot of smaller sites don't, but investigate, what your site is and what your company, because you don't want to get there. There are kind of these troll type lawyers out there trying to get these little quick hitter lawsuits where they try and basically extort you out of some money. I've seen this happen. So you want to be buttoned up here. You want to use what's called a consent management platform. I like to tie these in with Google Tag Manager. And then you can control kind of like, there's some built-in things with their templating and what's called consent mode. But anyway, make sure you're compliant here. So there are a number of other things that I saw, but those were probably the 9 biggest. I offer a free website clarity call if you'd like me to take a look at your website. It's not a sales pitch. It's a way for me to initiate conversations, to learn more about what you're working on, what your challenges are, helps inform my point of view on what's bothering people, what technology stacks they're using. So yeah, feel free to reach out. These are absolutely free. I try and spot 3 things that you could fix, today or in the next week. It's very practical and hands-on. If you're interested in one of these, reach out. You can go to judlyon.com/clarity to hit the landing page there, or just, hit me up on LinkedIn. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.